Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and this is also my review of the BELKO Experiment, a movie that is definitely coming and going through theaters. I do believe that this is the last week it will be playing at my particular theater, which is why I went to go see it. In fact, it only opened about 2 weeks ago, and it's grossed $7 million on a $5 million budget. So it could be doing a lot worse. This is a very simple film. This review will also contain a lot of spoilers. So if you want to know whether or not I recommend it, I would definitely say it's a good DVD watch. Or if it's going to be at a discount movie theater or something you see on like a discount movie night, that would be good. The movie is good. I enjoyed it, but the plot is relatively thin, and I don't know if it's worth a full price admission. So if you've seen the trailers for the Belko experiment, you understand the concept of the movie. 80 people in an office building sealed off by metal walls and metal windows and metal doors, and they have to essentially kill each other. Feels a bit like Battle Royale or the Hunger Games or, well, anything along those particular lines that we've seen time and time again. The particular aesthetics of the experiment are not uncommon, right? While I was watching this movie, I kept thinking back to like the 1997 or 1998 Ice-T Dolph or Christopher Lambert movie, Mean Guns, which is a very similar setting but taking place in a newly built prison with mobsters instead of an office building in Bogota, Colombia. Now, the Bogota, Colombia part actually plays in pretty heavily to the story. It was one that, as I was watching the trailer, I'm like, where would something like this take place? Right? Where would something like this even remotely take place? And then it starts off and you're in Bogota and you're like, oh, okay, they're outside of the United States. All right, fine. This is the Belko Industries. It's a vaguely defined nonprofit company where people have been working for about a year and a half. And then all of a sudden shit gets real and they're told to kill each other. Now, the thing with this is it just kind of comes out of nowhere. They start to kind of suspect something is happening. The main guy, Mike Milch, is looking around and there's like different security guards and all the Colombian nationals that work there, the locals, they were denied entry into the building that day. And it's just the transplants into the building, right? People who came down from America or other countries that aren't Colombian born that are told to stay. And then you find out that they have those little explosive devices planted in the back of their head. And that if they don't kill, they're going to, they're going to have their heads blown up and shit. And of course, this, it kind of like starts off a little weird because, the voice comes on the walkie-talkie and tells them everything. And then, of course, kills three of them or four of them in order to prove that they're not fucking around. And then they say you have 2 hours to kill 30 people or 60 of you will die. And that is when like the meat of the story takes place because it's only an 88-minute long movie. So it's pretty quick. But when they get to that second phase, that's when John Gallagher Jr., who plays Mike Milch, is very much the main character of the story, is very much trying to save lives and not end them or kill them or anything else. He's very much trying to, find a way out, find a way to survive, so on and so forth. But the COO of the company, Barry, who's played by Tony Goldwyn, who did a great job here, is very much trying to play the game because he's trying to, in his mind, actually save lives, not just his own, even though it would ultimately come down to that, but he's trying to save lives of people. And so you get like this, halfway through or whatever, you get like everyone, they get the guns. There's an armory inside the building. Only the security guard has got the keys for. They kill the security guard. They get the guns with the extra ammo, and they basically realize, oh, this was entirely part of the plan. Whoever their new god is wanted them to have this weaponry, to use it to complete this task, if you will. And that is the whole, issue is they round everybody up and they take them to the lobby, and they start sectioning them off. Like, who here is over the age of 60? And then they put those people off on the side and they go, who here has children under the age of 18? And they move them off. And then they just start like randomly picking people, and everything else. And then Barry just starts fucking executing them. right? And of course, the new hire, a girl named Danny, is able to turn the lights off, and that's how everyone gets away. But because they didn't hit the 30, the 30 kills in 2 hours, they got to 29. They kill 31 people. And that scene is insane because it's just heads exploding, right? To me, it felt like that scene from Kingsman: The Secret Service, but instead of fireworks going off, it like legitimately was, it legitimately was heads just exploding. And there's a scene where you got like Sean Gunn, who's like a cafeteria worker, and they're inside the cafeteria and people are hiding underneath the desks, and you just start seeing heads explode from underneath the tables. And you don't want, it's just the blood spraying out, but it's just the implications of that gore. And it was like, holy shit, they didn't fuck around with that. But it also was a way to get rid of the vast majority of the cast. I mean, clearly it was a plot device for that, leading into the final game, which is, oh, hey, whoever has the most kills at the end gets to win. And then it turns into a free-for-all, and it goes pretty nuts. Mike ends up being the only survivor there after killing Barry, because he's mad that Barry killed Leandra, Mike's girlfriend. So it's the thing is it's like, the movie is fun. You find out that it's an experiment. It's a social experiment run by BELKO. BELKO exists in 40 other countries, which was a little line that was kind of thrown in during the climax of the movie, if you will. And I'm like, oh, it's in 40 other countries. Okay, so there's going to be more people. And then of course Mike, gets to kind of uncover the truth, which is Greg Henry is there, and he, is like burned half on his face, which leads me to believe that he survived an experiment beforehand. And these guys are just trying to determine what would happen if humans were put in that situation. Would the primitive nature come out? Would they kill each other? But then before even more questions can be answered, right, or any kind of real exposition was going down, Mike had, collected a few of the bombs from the back of people's heads who had been executed and put them in basically all of the security guards that he grabbed and everything else. And then, detonated those bombs without detonating his own bomb, and then killed everybody, and then, basically walked away. Right. And as he walks away, the camera pulls back. It's a security camera that pulls back, and you see there's like 40 other screens with other people who have completed stage 1. And then it says stage 2 will now commence, and it cuts to black, and that's the credits. Of course, leading me to believe, okay, stage 2 is probably going to be the winners of stage 1 are then going to be moved into stage 2, right? And I mean, think about that. You had 80 people alive in stage 1, across 40 countries. Now 40 people are alive, and then that's going to be the continuation of the BELKO experiment. It's just social experimentation with no real like push for like the greater picture. There's no greater good argument here. It's just, what would happen if you told people to kill each other, and you started, showing them that we'll kill you and everything else if you don't do what we say. So then just to see. So it's kind of like I said, the idea there is one that's been done multiple times before. It's one that's been, it was entertaining to watch. It was short enough to where it didn't feel like it was too long or too pushy or whatever. But there were some things too where it's like there's no real character development on anybody. You don't get the time to know any of the main characters or to really even care about the main characters. I mean, the relationship between Mike and Leandra was about the only real character development that you got. You did have characters though, where Sean Gunn was, playing Marty, who was like the pot smoking cafeteria worker that thought that there was like neurotoxins in the water. And then you've got like, Tony Goldwyn, Barry, who starts just killing people because he's like trying to get home to his wife and kid. And it's, again, there's motivations, but not necessarily development. Probably, I feel like the Wendell, played by John C. McGinley, even then, you don't know much about these guys. There's one line of dialogue from, I think from Leandra or something, where she's talking to Barry and she's like, not everyone here is like Navy SEAL trained like you are. And it's all like, wait, they're Navy SEAL trained? Like are special forces trained or whatever? Like, when was this ever brought up? Which, leads you to believe like, okay, these are people that like know what the fuck they're doing. They know how to kill. which then makes me wonder too if this was like the experiment. Was Barry in on it? Like the whole time I kept thinking like it was Battle Royale, where you had that dude that, volunteered to go. Like this was Barry volunteering to go or something like that. That would have been an interesting twist. He was a survivor of a previous experiment, and then he was coming in to see if he could survive another one, sort of thing. Like that would have been an interesting twist, but they didn't do that. Again, it was very straightforward. I did feel like the acting was good. I felt like the violence, the gore was really good. There was intensity there. There's a lot of good things about it, and I feel James Gunn, who wrote the screenplay, did a really good job of trying to convey that. But at the same time, he created these characters, put them in this interesting world, but the characters were never given time to kind of adapt to the world. They were never given time to come into their own. And at the end, I couldn't even really tell you like what many of their names were. And the reason why I'm reciting their names now is because I have the Wikipedia page up in front of me at the moment, and I can see everyone's name. So again, I recommend the movie because it's definitely one that is good. If you want to see something like that, but you've also already seen this sort of thing. It's nothing that pushes the boundaries in terms of that kind of storytelling, but it's a fun movie to watch. So, I give it a thumbs up, but with like, if you can see something else in the theater, that might be better. But I do want to know what you guys think about this. Have you seen the BELKO Experiment? Did you like it? Would you want to see something else? Would you want to see stage 2? I mean, if the movie cost $2 million or $5 million to make, and they've grossed 7.6 million here, then they might make a sequel. And if they make a sequel to it, Mike might go up against the other 40 people in another similar situation. And it's entirely possible that this thing could end up being like the next Saw franchise. I doubt it, only because it hasn't grossed enough that Saw did in order to keep it going. But never say never. This is coming from Blumhouse. And that is very much what they do. They take these kind of projects, they put them out there, they spend little money, but they make a lot back. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, I enjoyed it. It just could have been better. But anyway, my name is Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.